Right, so we are doing what's called symbolic logic day 1. Now, you actually were introduced to symbolic logic yesterday. Because did I use symbols to represent conditional statements to you? So you were actually already started, but now we're going to define a few things, review a little bit, and see what it's doing. So first of all, we have to know what a proposition is. And here's what's cool. It is just a statement that is true or false. Basically, the way that we say that, it has a validity. Like, I know if it's valid or not, okay? So it's true or false. So how do I represent these, okay? You're going to either use a capital letter or a lowercase letter. So nothing really different than what we did yesterday, but a lot of times you use capital Q, lowercase q, P is really popular, R, lowercase r. Long as I define what those letters represent, it's really okay to have those. So let me give you like an example of this. We could do something like, today is, I'm going to use this one just because it's fun to do, is Monday. Can I prove that as true or false? Because today is what? Tuesday. So that's a proposition. It's a validity. I can show it as true or false. But how about this one? Let's sing. I love singing. I'm bad at it though. Let's sing. Is that a proposition? Think about it. Is it one? Can I prove it true or false? No, it's just a command. Not a proposition. It has to be able to be valid or not. So not a proposition. So what's the first ones that we really worked with conditionally? You used a conditional statement. Guys, quick review from yesterday. What is a conditional statement? It's a what? Yeah, it's just an if, then statement. Awesome. And what symbol do we use for that? We use an arrow, and we use the propositions, P, then Q. But the symbol for a conditional statement is the arrow going to the right. And it reads, if P, then Q, right? Now, we even did the truth table yesterday in our notes. Remember, we had to go true, true, false, false, true, false, true, false. All right, who was the guy I picked on yesterday for this? Oh, Connor and his girlfriend, Susie. Oh, yes. Guys, remember our lovely example that we used to prove the validity of this? We used the idea that Connor was going to take his girlfriend out for a date, right? He said, if I earn the money and mow the lawn, then I'm going to take you to the movies. And remember, we went through and said, all right, he earned the money, took her to the movies. True, true. So he made what type of statement? True. Now, if he earned the money but didn't take her to the movies, did he break his promise to Susie Q, right? Sweet Susie. So he was we call him the big flat liar, right? And every girl in the room gave him the death stare. Like, don't do it. But remember who he deems himself. He somehow comes up with money. He didn't mow the lawn, but he still took her to the movies. So was he a man of his word to her? Yeah, it was still true. But what if he didn't earn the money and didn't take her to the movies? Did he still lie to her? No, because he said, hey, if I earn this money, then I'm going to take you to the movies. He didn't earn the money. So she knew, good chance he didn't have the money to take her to the movies, right? So that's still a true statement. So guys, I'm going to highlight this because this is the most important thing to remember. When we're doing validity of things, you need to know the only time that a conditional statement is false is if you have a true hypothesis and a false conclusion. It's the only time. All right, so now we're going to add some new symbols. So today we're going to use what's called a conjunction. All right, do you guys remember conjunction function? You know, all that stuff. Okay, what is a conjunction? What word is a conjunction? And, right? It's the word and. It brings it all together. So when I say conjunction, I say the word and. So we're going to bring it all together. The symbol we're going to use looks like almost like a capital letter A, but without the bar. So that means conjunction. Anytime you see that symbol, you think the word and. All right, you think the word and. So an example of this would be, let's just say, I can pick on Cora. She's in my class right now. Cora is 13 and she runs cross country. Okay, now, working with this, if I look at it, Cora is 13 and runs cross country, I have a quick question for you. Is that true or false statement? What do you guys think? here's my question. The first proposition here, Cora is 13. Cora, are you 13? She was false. And she runs cross country, which is true. Now, here's my thing. How valid would that be? Is that a true or false statement? False and true.
False.
It says she has to be both. The word and means both have to be true. So that's actually what type of statement. So that's going to be a false statement. The word and means you're glued together, you can't separate. So a bad does make it bad, okay? So working with this, again, we're going to use the same first two columns. So we have all combinations of true and false statements together with a conjunction. And they really make a lot of sense because look at the first one, true and true. If I would change that statement to is Cora is 14 and she runs cross country, that's true and true. So am I making a true statement about her? Yeah, it's very true. Now, think about the next one. What if Cora, let's just say she is 13, okay? She's not, but just go there, all right? That's a true statement. But what if she didn't run cross country? Am I still making a true statement about her? No, that one false statement because it says, and this has to happen. It's not separate. So that would also be false. So when we found out earlier if it's false and true, it's what? False. But what if we do false and false? Nope, that's only for conditional statements. All right, false and false is still what? False. So and is very powerful. You cannot take the bad away from the bad or the good away from the good. You only have one thing bad will make it awful. So here, isn't this really the only thing that you have to know? All other combinations for and are always going to be false. So let's write a statement down and see if you guys can figure out the validity of this one. All right, Mrs. G teaches geometry and she is 44 years old. Mrs. G teaches geometry and she is 44 years old. I'm putting myself out there, people. I just want you to know that right now. All right. Do I teach geometry? I've never not taught geometry in my teaching career. I've always had, so that's true. And then we have our and here. She is 44 years old. What is it, Cora? Ah! My own child doesn't know my age. Yes. All right. All I'm gonna let you know is that's false. Good enough? All right, so it's false. So true and false makes that what type of statement? So that's a false statement. Okay, I know that's kind of a joking way of doing it, but you're starting to see how you can literally, notice I changed it to the symbols of just T and F in order to see it, how simple it is. All right, last one we're gonna have here. It's called the disjunction. You guys remember what disjunctions are? Yeah. Kind of, it's or. Like either or, it's kind of when you think about it. So really a disjunction is when we think of the words or. So it's what combines things with or. The symbol for that is literally a capital V. So when you read that, you'd be like, or. Anytime you see that word, it says or. So an example of that would be, today is Monday, or today is Tuesday. All right, help me out on this, guys. Now, if anyone's watching this video in 10 years from now, we're going to go with what's present right now in 2017. Guys, is today Monday? That's false. Or is today Tuesday? True. So false or true. What do you think your validity for that's going to be? Because I can choose either what? So which one are you going to always be? You're always going to be positive in this world, okay? So you're going to have, I can choose either or. I can ignore the bad this time and only pick out the good. So that is actually a true statement. So let's do the truth tables for disjunctions. Guess what your first two columns are going to be? True, true, false, false, true, false, true, false. And this gives us all possible combinations of P or Q. All right, true or true?
True.
True. True or false?
True.
False or true?
True.
False or false? So the most important one to remember is if you have a disjunction, the only time it's false is if they're both false. Because at this time, the good always wins up, right? The truth always wins. Yes. Come on, guys, that's supposed to be a positive thing, all right? With and, who has always won? The negative, the bad always won, right? The false always won. So this time, truth always wins. All right, and we talked about this yesterday as well. Oh, let's try this one. Oh, I forgot to give an example. Let's have fun. This one, Mrs. G, ooh, not highlighted though. Let's go. Mrs. G wears glasses, or she teaches pre-calc. Mrs. G wears glasses, or she teaches pre-calc. All right, guys, help me out. Do I wear glasses? Look at me. I don't have to, but I do. Okay, it's a little bit easier to see. All right. I know, vanity. So that's why I get funky glasses, because if I'm going to wear glasses, they're going to be cool looking. All right. Or she teaches pre-cal. Do I teach pre-cal? So that's true or true. So what's my statement? It's a truthful statement. Awesome. All right, negation. You guys remember what negation means? It means make opposite. What word do we think of when we think make opposite? What did we use a lot yesterday?
Negative.
Negate anything that's not, or you take the word not out, or you put the word not in. So think make opposite, or a negative, like in math, it would be a negative value. So the symbol for that is like the tilde symbol. It's actually the similarity symbol, top row of the typewriter, by the way. Now, a few things you need to remember then. If you ever see that symbol that says if Q is true, then not Q is going to be what? Not true, which makes it false. True or false, right? So if P is false, then not P is going to be what? True. Now, we're going to actually do what are called compound sentences. Notice I didn't give you an actual values for these. I just told you the following. X, R, and P are true. Y, Z, and M are false. Few things you need to remember. Negation symbols don't distribute. You still go left to right, and you go inside parentheses first. Sound good? So you can actually calculate and do all these. If you show work, you're more likely to get it right than if you don't show work. And I take off points if you don't show work. Go figure, right? Mrs. Gregerson wants to see what you're doing. But knowing the validity of those propositions, you're supposed to be able to tell me if these statements are true or false. So like on the very first one, I have X and P. So that, remember, that's true and true, which gives you what? True. Notice I literally just plug in T or F for those. So it's very easy to see. The next one, though, says not X and P. So that's not true and true. Well, guys, what's not true? What value do I put in there? False, right? So that's false and true gives me false. All right. So that's some good time here. All right, next one. We have Y, and what's that symbol? That's a conjunction, so that's Y and M, right? So Y is what, guys?
False.
False and false. What's my validity? If you're doing homework tonight, do you think it's going to be really smart to have your truth tables really close to you from your notes? Yeah, until you have them memorized, it's really nice to have those nearby while you're working on your worksheet. All right, the next one, we have R or Z. It's a disjunction. So R is true, Z is false. So that's true or false. What do you guys got?
True.
Very good. Disjunction, truth always wins. Remember, or we got truth always wins. All right, then we have P or not M. So P is true, and I got not M, which is false. So I got not false, which gives me what? Now, some people go from here to here right away if it's real simple. Is that okay? Because not false is true. I'm good with that. But make sure you have the fact it's true. All right, next one. How does that read? Who can read that for me? If R, then very good. If R, then M. So we know if true, then false. The only time it's conditional statement is false, right? So it's false. All right, guys, what do you think? Are they really that bad? Not when they're just two symbols, propositions like that, but how about like number 8, 9, and 10? So let's go through these real quick. All right, not R, then not M. All right, so that's not true, then not false. Isn't that the same thing as if false, then true, right? Notice, do I show literally almost every step? It's almost like you're simplifying a really complicated algebraic expression. If false, then true. What value is that, my friends? True. Very good. Remember, that's when Connor doesn't mow the lawn, but he still takes Susie Q to the movies. All right, next one. This is one of those times where you're going to want to put everything down and then just simplify as you go. So on this one, we have not true, and I do believe that's true, or not false and false. All right, inside the parentheses first. Guys, not true is what value? What's false and true? Parentheses have to go. So false and true is, so can I write that as false or not? Let's change that not false to what? True, right? And false. Notice I did the parentheses first. I didn't write that extra step of going if false and true, but if you can do that quickly in your head at that level, I'm okay with it. Now it has to go left to right. So the first two is false or true. What do we get, guys? That gives you true. So notice I put those two together to get that one. So I get true. And then we get and false. Well, what's true and false? Remember, and means the bad wins, right? Or means the good wins. All right, on number 9, how many of you are so trained from Algebra World you want to distribute that negation symbol the moment you see it? Don't do it. All right, thank you. Okay, if this is where it's not algebra, okay? This is logic. So with this one, leave the negation symbol there. So when you have it, do your parentheses. So it's not parenthesis, then R is going to be true, then not Y. So that's going to be not false. So really that's true, then true. So guys, what's true, then true? True. So if true, then true is true. So I have not true, which makes it false. Don't distribute negation symbols. Are you guys with me on that? Just don't do it. It's hard not to because you're so used to it. All right, you guys do 10. Go. You do 10. I still got time. Wow. I'm never this far in these notes. It must be the students. Y is false, right? Yeah. All right, do you get it? Guys, looking at this first one, I have to go inside my brackets first, right? So, look here, I have to do parentheses first. What's false, then true? If false and true, that's a true statement. Or, not false means true. Notice, and then I just go ahead and go not F and make it true. All right, now this is really nice. True or true is what? True and true is... Write it down a little bit. You're going to get it right. Sound good? All right. Think you guys can do those pretty easy? Okay. Now, these next examples are huge to make sure you know how to do these because I do ask this stuff. It's not on the quiz, obviously, for tomorrow, but this will be on your next stuff. It says examples for translating. Believe it or not, we want symbols to represent words and we want words to be represented by symbols. And so I need to be able to interpret it. Okay. It's not as bad as if you're in Spanish or English, okay? So it's not too bad. So I do need to give you definitions of things. So here, we got x equals 2 times 2 equals 4. We have y equals 2 times 3 equals 6. Z is 2 times 1 equals 3. And m is 1 plus 7 equals 6. Now, obviously, are there some true, some false? Okay, we need to do this now or we're not all going to be on the same page. Q, February has 27 days. What are we going to say, true or false? See, I want to say that's false because it has more than that. So guess what? I'm the teacher. It's false. Okay? Some of you are like, but it always has how many days? But I also know it has 28 and 29. Right? So we're going to go with my definition. Yes, you probably could say true on this, but we're just doing it because I'm the teacher. Sound good? But most of them are pretty obvious if they're true or false. This is like the one I used later. I wrote the notes. I'm like, oh, should have had a better example than that. bad example on my part. So let's just say it's false for the sake of notes. Are you guys good with that? And then there are 52 weeks in a year. Mondays are before Tuesdays. Praise the Lord. I think that is the case. Now it says, write the verbal translation of each statement. Then it's validity. Okay. So like on the very first one, think about what you're doing here. What's X? What's the verbal representation of that? Isn't that just 2 times 2 equals 4? What symbol's there? Disjunction, conjunction, or conditional? Disjunction. So what word do I need? So we go or, and then we got Z here. We know 2 times 1 equals 3. So that's your translation of that. So that's your verbal translation. Now, what is going to be your validity of this? Well, my validity is that's true or false. So that gives me what? True. Some people are going to want to do the validity first because they can just mess with the symbols first and then go back and write the translation. I'm okay with that as long as you do both parts. But you need to do both parts. Now, those aren't too bad. So let's look at the next one. I have not Y and M. So that's a conjunction, right? So if I'm saying not Y, and here's Y is 2 times 3 equals 6. Guys, how do I say not that in algebra mode? That's 2 times 3 does not equal 6, right? I'm negating it. So 2 times 3 does not equal 6. And that's a conjunction, so we use the word and. And then M is going to be 1 plus 7 is equal to 6. Now, that's our translation. But what's my validity of this? So that's false and false. So it's what? False. Well, you negate something if it was true. If you negate something that was false, it becomes true. It just matters what the statement validity is. Because 2 times 3, not 6, that makes it a false statement, right? Not equal to 6. All right, now guys, you're going to have more complicated than this. There will be some that you're actually going to need to have parentheses, or you're going to think you have to think like quantities. So I'm not going to give you all the quick, easy ones, but let's try this one real quick together. All right, what type of statement is that? Conjunction, disjunction, or conditional? All right, so we know it's going to be an if-then. So we're going to say if what? If February does, whoops, I can't spell does. Is that right? Does, doesn't spell right. Yeah. Why is it like I could not spell all the way today? You know how you hate that when that happens? You're like, I've spelled that word my whole life. All right. I bet you guys never make mistakes like that, right? Does not have 27 days. Then what's R say? Nope. Yep. Then it's R before Tuesdays. All right. So that's the statement. So if February does not have 27 days, then Mondays are before Tuesdays. Well, first of all, we said that was not false just because that's what I defined it as, it's true. So that's if true, then true, which makes it what? True. All right, guys, what do you think? Is it really that bad? All right. Yes, ma'am. Right. No, it's just the first 2 lessons of the chapter. So no. I want the definitions from Unit 1 because you want to make sure you have those down so you can do a biconditional for me.
Like all of one.
Well, you should already know them, so that shouldn't be a big review session, right, guys? Some of you are like, ugh. All right, just review them, okay? Just review. All right, good stuff. Now, how do I go the other way around? It says, write the following statements in symbolic form using the symbols given above. Then tell whether the statement is true or false. Guys, what would I write symbolically for this one? It's 2 times 2 does not equal 4, or 1 plus 7 does not equal 6. What symbols am I going to have? Well, what is 2 times 2 equals 4? What symbol was that one? X. So isn't this going to be not X? And then or means what? Disjunction. And then I have 1 plus 7 does not equal 6. So what I'm going to put for that one? Not M. Do you notice the negation symbol? We just say the word not M. Now, what's the validity of this? What's the validity of that? That's false or what? True. So it's going to be what? True. All right. How about the next one? If there are 52 weeks in a year, then February does not have 27 days. So what is this going to be? A conditional, conjunction, or disjunction? All right. So to be conditioned, let's write it down. Hold on. So we got here, if P, then what? not cute is going to be your statement. Now, what are the validities of this? We have that's if true, then we said not false, which is true. So if true, then true is true. Guys, does this make sense what you need to do? So would it be wise to look over your homework before you do the worksheet online? And it's wise to have your notes next to you while you're doing it? Yes. All right. I'm not going to fill in C. I think you guys are good with the examples that you're giving. You did a great job today. All right. See you in chapel.